But this is more of like, we're gonna talk about how every man has a story behind him. Whether I think it's Alexander the Great, whether I think it's Jesus, whether I think it's Andrew Tate. I'm trying to think about famous people. Every great man or every man. Yeah. The thing is, I feel like every great man is different. Is the same as every man, but they just do it differently because it's the same person, right? But every great man, for example, Andrew Tate, Alexander the Great, maybe Genghis Khan, but I feel like he was a little bit crazy. They all have motivation behind them, I guess you could say. Whether that motivation is mental or like it's from whatever it is, I feel like they had motivation, and I feel like it's the same thing with every man. I think every man has motivation to do something, whether you're in the slums, whether you're rich already, whether you came from nothing, whether you don't even speak English, whatever it is. I think as a man you always have a story. I think there's always motivation if you really look for it. I think the problem when it comes to most men is when the motivation comes, what are you doing with it? Are you exercising with it? Are you fulfilling what you feel destined to do? Or are you trying to distract yourself because it hits hard? You know, whatever that motivation might be. Whether one of the biggest motivations is death. Now, whether that be death of a relationship, whether that be death of a person, of an animal, of an ego, of a persona, of your old self, whatever it is, there's motivation at some point in every man's life to do things. And I think the problem with most men nowadays is that you get the motivation, but then you get distracted. You see things that are easy to get, easy dopamine. TikTok, great example. Easiest dopamine hit of all time. You get distracted like this. Motivation, you literally, energy transfers from here to the phone. Like that. It transfers. And it's hard to like get away from that, and it's hard to make sure you don't scroll. Like I try my best, but like I wake up and I have to scroll a little bit. I do get a little bit of motivation from my TikTok, so it helps me wake up, but there's always a problem with that, and the problem is that, like, yes, you get that dopamine hit, yes, you get that motivational hit, but what comes after that is laziness, because you already hit your technically peak, and you already feel fulfilled. You already feel like you've done enough for the day. For me, that's in the gym, right? And I think most guys, that is the same point too. You go to the gym, you listen to gym edits or whatever music, you feel fulfilled once you're finished that. And while people think that's a good thing, I think it is a good thing. But then you're getting rid of all of the motivation. Like, getting fit isn't going to solve everything. Isn't going to solve all your problems. So you have to look beyond that. You have to look beyond getting fit, beyond doing all that stuff. And you have to, I guess what I'm looking for is, you have to look for God. Because at the end of it, all that motivation, everything that you work for, yes, it might solve your problem temporarily. Yes, for a temporary moment in your life, you might feel fulfilled. Whether if it's you building a business and you finally sold it, you building your body and you finally achieved your body, there's this point in your life where you know you fulfilled it, you'll feel happy, but the next day you'll feel like you want more money, better fitness, better life, and you take for granted your health, your money, your family, and that's something that we should never take for granted. That's something that I believe we have to be grateful for every day. And I believe that a lot of us aren't grateful. I'm not excluding myself, I'm including myself. I think I'm a very ungrateful person when it comes to money, people, friends, everything. I think instead of me being grateful for things, I'm a very ungrateful person. And I need to change that. But back to what I was saying, because I think I'm ranting on for a different rant, and I don't know why I like ranting, but there's a story behind every man, and like I said, you have the choice to either fulfill it or to get distracted. Like I said, though, there comes benefits and bad things with everything, right? Because let's say you take that motivation and you put it on the gym. Like I said, even if you succeed that, you'll still never feel fulfilled. You'll always have this. Maybe I should change the title from what I had originally to like how to fill the emptiness. Because nothing's gonna fill it. Nothing in this world is gonna fill it. Not any amount of money. Not any amount of love that you get from people, because it will never be enough. Because truth is, no matter who your family is, no matter who your one love is, no matter who your friends are, your friends will accidentally slip up and do something, get you mad one day. Your family might accidentally call you something that you've been working hard to make sure they don't call you that, and they accidentally call you it. And things like that. Don't hold on to the world. And I think a lot of priests and a lot of people say that. But I don't think they actually listen to that. I think people go like, yeah, nothing's going to fulfill my heart. Well, on to the next day. Or there is no point in life then. Like, no, there is. Because there is a pure love out there, and the pure love is Jesus Christ. You have to love Jesus more than you love yourself, or more than you love anything else. I myself am struggling with that. I don't know how to do that. And I'm figuring it out. It's something hard to figure out. It's not easy whatsoever. Because I'm just using this as an example, but I was recently in a relationship, and I realized that I was putting my love with my partner above Jesus Christ. And I did a prayer and I'm not saying this, I hate it when people say that they do a prayer and it magically happens. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying that it's not a coincidence. I sincerely don't believe it's a coincidence, and I think whenever I do prayers, it's not a coincidence that things happen. I'm not saying it's magic. I'm not saying, oh, God listened to my prayers. He did listen to them. I'm saying it's just not a coincidence. But I'm not using that as evidence. But what I'm trying to say here is that when I did the prayer, after I finished doing the prayer, within a day, I think, I didn't get a response. And then the next day, I didn't get a response. So 2 days I went undelivered. And I realized to myself, for the first day I couldn't sleep. I was waking up every night, like every hour. I couldn't sleep, like Fight Club. Second day, same thing almost, couldn't sleep. And that was bad because now I'm on 48 hours, no sleep. And I'm tripping on why she hasn't responded and stuff. Within those 48 hours, I realized that I was putting the relationship on top of God. I realized that I was putting things that I shouldn't be putting on top of God. Things that are worldly. And like I said, the relationship was, for me, the biggest thing. And maybe this was a lesson to be taught, right? That I needed to be taught. Is that even in the deepest part of what people call love, or what movies call love, because the one thing that they call love is with your partner. That's the deepest love that apparently the world says that you can find, is your partner's love. That's not true though, because Catholic teaches us that we have to love God more than we love even ourselves, even our partners, even my mom, even my parents, even my brother, my sister, whoever I love the most, which at that moment was the woman I was with. And nothing against her, don't get it wrong. But I was putting the woman on top of God. And I think it was a lesson to be taught for me that relationships and stuff like that should not be on top of God. And nothing should be on top of God. Now, here's where it gets tricky though. So obviously we broke up, and who even knows what's going on anymore. I'm a little sad about it, yes. I'm not going to sit here and say no, but God's will, man. If whatever happens, happens. Like, it's God's will. Problem where I started seeing the problem is that I started using that as motivation. I started using the breakup as motivation. Now, the problem with that is that I don't want to say, like, I broke it up because of communication. And I'm kind of the a-hole for breaking it up. She's kind of the a-hole for not answering. None of us were a-holes, but I'm just using that as an example. But what I'm trying to say here is that I uses that as motivation, that like she didn't answer and she doesn't care about me, and I was low-key in the gym, I was working out. Did it feel good? Yes, it felt amazing, right? Because you let out all the things you have inside of you. Everything. You let it out in the gym. And I mean everything, right? Like everything that you have inside of you, you let it out. And it feels amazing. You're like pumped up. You're ready to go. And you feel like you can fight anybody. You're willing to die. The point that I'm trying to make is that while yes, you're willing to die, while yes, you have this great motivation, what are you really looking at? Are you looking at Christ? No. And something that I realized is that I was pushing Christ away. Not only after the breakup, but during the breakup and before the breakup. Ever since I got in the relationship, I realized in that relationship, I was losing my relationship with Christ. And I'm realizing that I need to fix that. And I'm putting this video out just in case any other people think the same way that I'm thinking. You know? How do you fill that void? You don't fill that void by, for example, I'm just saying this. I want to get a Lamborghini badly, like badly. I don't think that's ever going to stop, and I hope I achieve that dream. I don't feel successful until I do that, and I don't feel like I don't know why I don't feel worthy until I do that. I hope that changes, and it's something that I hope to grow in my faith that it will change. But as of right now, that's how I feel, and I feel like I want to drive over these people and I want to show them, like, look at what you lost, look at the things that you lost, look at the things that you could have had. But all that motivation, all that stuff that says that things, which is a lot going around on TikTok, all those motivations are bad. I personally can't stop listening to them. I need to, but they're good motivations, but they're not good eternally. They feel good to your body, they feel good at the moment, but eternally speaking, it's not good. So I guess what I'm trying to do is, the way that you fill the void as a man of love is by knowing the one true love that exists out there, and that is Jesus Christ. That he suffered and died and crossed. And even if you were the only person on earth, he would do it again. And it's hard to understand that, and it's hard to understand that you have to put Christ first. And it's really hard, it's hard to think about thanking God, and always being grateful for God when things are going bad. When things are going great, oh, thank you, Lord. Now, when things are going bad, now try saying thank you. Things get hard. But that's the whole point, right? That's the whole point of the religion. That's the whole point of faith, is that in those hard moments, are you still grateful? And I have to be grateful. And I have to put the relationship with Christ. And I have to still go to people. I still should act nice. I shouldn't worry about having to have a Lamborghini, having to have a mansion to impress these people who, quite frankly, obviously they didn't care about me to begin with. I'm not saying you shouldn't care for them, because it's a hard sword to handle. It's a hard pill to swallow. Because not only are you not getting back at them, you're forgiving them for something that they did. It's a hard thing to do. But Jesus calls us to be more Christ-like like him. When they slap him, he tells, or not slap him, when he says in the parable, when they slap you, turn the other cheek and let them slap you again. So when they already disrespected you, when they already proved their disloyalty to you, give them the loyalty back and let it happen again. Let it happen again. Now, I'm not saying this is for relationship advice. No. Right? Because obviously get you someone that's loyal. Don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is don't hold that grudge and don't have to feel the need of having to get money or having to have these material items, whether it's your body looking great, your face looking amazing, your money looking great, because at the end of it, at some point in your life, and hopefully it's later than sooner for everybody watching this, but at some point it's going to come to an end, and you're going to realize all those things come to an end, and you're faced with the one fact that reality hasn't hit you before, and that's non-reality, and that's Christ. What comes after reality? What comes after this? Judgment Day. A lot of people decide to skip this Judgment Day, but it's something that could really happen to anybody. And I think what's really getting to me is that I recently watched a TikTok of this freaking kid who's 12, and his mother's posting him on TikTok. I'll probably put a video or something. It's one of the saddest audios, but it made me realize, like, there's no point to hold grudges. You know? If one person walks away, he walks away, but you don't hold a grudge. Whatever it is, don't hold a grudge. Your life could end at any moment, and you're going to remember that specific moment and every moment that you've done that. You're going to realize, are you serious? Like, there was no point of that. There was no point of that. When you die, there was nobody looking after you except for Christ, right? Yeah, people are going to cry at your funeral. Yeah, people are going to, if you're famous, people are going to remember you when in the storybooks for 20 minutes in class, and then they're going to go talk about 6-7. It's dumb. It's dumb to think, oh, I'm going to become somebody great that they'll remember me and honor me forever. Alexander the Great, yeah, that's a great example. But where is he now? Is he still alive? In the textbooks maybe, but are you thinking about him 24/7? Oh, Alexander the Great. Oh, Alexander the Great. No. He died, and he stays under the ground. There's only one man who rose from the ground. Or from the tomb, I should say, because it wasn't in ground. Who rose from the tomb. And it's Jesus, and he showed us that there's a life after this. And that you should go and seek that before you seek anything of this world. Because all the greatest people, where are they now? Dead. And where is our future? Same place as them. But saints, they tell us something different. And every saint tells us there is a future for every single person, no matter the wealth, no matter what it is. And that is an eternal one. Saints are some people amazing because they dedicate their entire life to Christ. And it's looking me like, this is why I also choose Catholics. Like, and after my relationship, why I'm realizing it, I'm realizing that, like, it's not impossible to have a relationship with God and with a woman at the same time. But if you really have ever had a relationship with a woman, you would understand it is difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible, but to do two of them at the same time, it's hard. Like, the only way you could really do that is to live like the average American, you know? And that's like perfect. And there's nothing wrong with that. What I'm saying is that if you're going to become a father, though, I think that's why I think Catholics are the way, because they focus on just Christ and there's no other distractions, nothing else. Now, my Protestant brothers, I have nothing against you guys either. I'm just saying I think you're either Orthodox or Catholic, and that's the best way to go. Protestant gets iffy, but there's nothing against you guys, you know? I just think you guys need a direction a move in the right direction. Yeah. So that was a 25-minute rant. And yeah.